Yeah, so I mean, real estate was probably pretty accidental. I went to college not knowing what degree to get. And so there was an accounting degree that sounded good because all the girls were in the accounting program. So I figured all the study groups would be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, and my buddies were all doing business ad. And I was like, business admin sounds boring and it's all guys. So I'm going to go over here and check it out. They interestingly had an accounting major with a real estate minor. So I basically majored in girls and accounting and minored in real estate, which was really fantastic. No idea what I was planning on doing with that. But in order to pass that course at the time, you actually had to pass the state exam. You didn't have to hang your license. You just had to pass. That was the final. So once I got the license, yeah, it was the weirdest thing. So once I passed it, I was like, well, I might as well just hang it with somebody. So
yeah,
it
I
so
like
happened
that. That's way more versatile than the test you're going to take. At least that's
100%.
real world application.
Yeah.
I like that.
It was the one course in college that had real world application. And
that's cool.
And I was thinking, man, they got to do more courses like that where, you know, you're learning about something that's going to literally give you a paycheck. And so,
yeah.
So I hung it, and I think I was a junior at the time. And then, you know, and then I knew a bunch of upperclassmen just because of the social circle I was in. And so they're like, oh, you know, I got money. I want to buy my first house. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll help you. And so I started selling houses in college and started making, you know, pretty good money. I mean, 3% is not bad when you're a college guy. Because,
oh yeah.
You lived off of $50 a month on pizza and beer. And so when you actually get a check for like $1,500, $2,000, you're just like, what in the world is going on? I can actually eat like at a Denny's tonight. You know, it's like super exciting. So, yeah, so that kind of got me started in real estate on that side. And then I bought my first house before I left college. I was 21. And I just thought, well, I should probably, you know, invest some of those funds. So I bought a house, and then I made it like a fraternity. I had 7 of my buddies live in it. It smelled like a locker room. Kitchen was absolute disaster. Girls never wanted to come over because they always felt compelled to clean because it was such a mess. Like, you know, your house is bad when girls come over and don't just comment on it, but they come over with buckets in hand because they plan to actually sanitize before they actually sit in the house. So I was like, man, this isn't going super good. But I discovered accidentally house hacking, which is, you know, renting out all the rooms to your buddies. And I was profiting $500 a month after all utility expenses. And so that kind of got me hooked. And from there, I think real estate has always just been something that I've done. I've taken on other, you know, part-time jobs here and there just to try to do stuff here and there. But just discovered that I'm not a good W-2 employee. Like I suck at working for other people. And I think you guys do the same. That's why you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're in like they're an accountant, so they're in a busy year-end push at their company, and she works for like a bigger retail store, and she's like, well, I have to wait for this department to get me all their stuff, but I'm at home. And I was like, man, do you remember the days where you had to go into the office and sit there for 8 hours, whether you had work to do or not?
Right.
Like, that seems so foreign to me that you're sitting in a building all day.
Yeah. And painful. Well, and I still have buddies that work in W-2 careers, and, you know, and I don't want to knock them for it, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so if we go on a trip, we have to go figure out when your employer will let you have 10 days off because all you have is 10 days. And then we got to figure out how to string your sick days. And then we got to lie for 4 other days after that to get you through, you know, 3 weeks. And it's like, why do you have to live like that? Like when you're an entrepreneur, it's like, hey, you know what? Today it's a sunny day. I'm going out on the boat, you know, and I'll answer emails while I'm driving on the boat. And in between skiers, we're going to check a couple of our emails. And, you know, that's, I think, the most exciting thing about real estate investing and doing what we do is that freedom and financial freedom is one thing. Absolutely. But I think it's the time freedom. Especially when you've got young kids. Like I don't miss my kids' soccer games. I don't miss, you know, any of the things that I want to be at because, you know, the freedom's there.
Yep. I just coached my son's baseball team this summer because I could. Like, it's busy, but like you can always take time out, and it's not like I have to, all right, I got to leave work early today and then hope that they're okay with it. It's just, you're able to make your schedule what you need to make it, and it all works out. And obviously big kudos to the guys that are holding up the fort while I'm gone, because we do have a team of 5 guys working on various projects at the time. So big shout out to the foreman and the guys keeping the train rolling as I'm out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Teamwork is such a critical part of it. But I mean, the truth is that you probably still work over 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It's just flexible.
Yes. I work way more now than I did at W-2. but my hours are when I need to work. And so, I mean, you have the late nights, but if you have the late nights, it's probably because you took some time off during the day to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So,
or you've got an exciting project that you're awake because you're super stoked about, and you're just like, oh, I love this. This is great. As opposed to 2 a.m. sitting in an office trying to reconcile some statement for an employer that doesn't care anyways, and you're just like, okay, that's lame. But but again, like you said, kudos to those who carry W-2 jobs. I mean, that's the majority of where our country is at. I think even for W-2 workers, I tell everybody all the time, like, you can still experience a tremendous amount of the real estate investing world, even as a W-2 worker, and enhance the financial freedom and some flexibility. Because then if the employer says, hey, I can only get you 2 weeks paid, you're like, all right, I'm going to take 2 months and the rest is unpaid. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you have that backup.
I started the line. I do W-2 and I do this stuff on the side with Marcus. So it's an interesting world to get back into a W-2 job. I don't know if I like it as much as
I think your freelance is way better.
Yeah. Freelancing is way better. I love it. But
it's kind of like once you taste Detroit pizza, you can't go back to Pizza Hut after that. It's like, I can't go back to my W-2. I've got to definitely have that flexibility. So
right.
So have you ever held a W-2, or have you, I mean, it sounds like out of college you went right into the investing world?
I mean, I tried to do a marketing thing for a while, and then I tried to do I did a number. I'm entrepreneurial, so I also just love seeing how companies work. So I did take on some different roles, and every single time it just was like, it's great. But the stress just didn't satisfy to the degree the stress in real estate investing satisfies.
Yeah.
Because there's stress no matter what, and when people on Instagram make, house flipping seem so easy, and, real estate investing is going to make you all this money and it's no stress. I'm just like, no, I don't know what world you're living in, because it's stressful.
And that's the one reason I gravitated towards bigger pockets when I started with real estate. Because I was carrying my W-2 when I started with real estate, and I got my agent license, and I was listening to that podcast while I was on the road, because I drove like 3.5, 4 hours a day just to get to the next, like, all collectively by the end of the day, 4 hours. And I'm like, I was wasting 4 hours of my day listening to music. Like, I got to find something like long-term career wise. And then I jumped onto Bigger Pockets, and I think it was their first show and their intro. Like, if you don't want the fluff and you want to know what it really is, this is not like a vacation. This is work. But if you can get through that, like, this will be for you. And I was like, perfect. Someone who's not going to lie to me about, like, if you sign up for this training course, we're going to make sure you make like $6,000 your first month. Like, bullshit. But these Bigger Pockets, they're like, this is what you got to do. Here's the plan. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be work. But if you stick with it, it'll pay off. And I mean, I've tried to follow the people who've done it before. I don't try to recreate the wheel. If you have a problem, someone else has had that problem. You just have to learn from what they've done. So, I mean, leaning on people who've done it before and not being nervous to, get out and try it is a big thing. And once you get over those hurdles, then you see the fruits of what it can be.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what I love about the community of real estate investors, not just in Bigger Pockets, but just even like through relationships like this. You start to realize, like, everybody in this space loves to help each other, which is really unusual. Like,
it's unique.
It is. It's like we were talking about football. It's like not in the football space do you see that, at training, everybody's competing to try to get the position or get that bigger check. And with real estate, there's just so much opportunity that I think anybody, especially if someone's listening now and just kind of considering real estate and worried about failing and there's not enough opportunity in the space, that's so far from the truth. But like, especially as the market starts to change right now, like, recession equals opportunity to me. And so it's pretty exciting.
Isn't that Warren Buffett that says he buys when people are scared? Like, when people run, he buys. And that's the same thing. Like, right now is the time to go out and do it, because everything is changing.
Are you guys buying more now because of the economy and the changes right now?
Well, right now we're trying to finish up the few projects we have so we can go out. We just bought a property. This is something where you buy it and it's supposed to be one thing, and then it completely flips on you.
Right.
So we bought a property about a month ago, and we're trying to finish up a project. So we haven't even stepped foot in it. We got it from a wholesaler. It was a good price. We know we can add a garage, add value to it, and make money on it. About 2 weeks after we closed, we got a notice from the city saying that, hey, we detect your water meter hasn't shut off. And there was a little leak. And it turned out to be a bigger leak than what we thought. And the toilet upstairs was running all the way down through the walls into the basement. So now we have to go in and rip out drywall and re-floor some areas. And so it was supposed to be a quick flip that turns into, hey, we got some demo to do. And our numbers switched a little bit. Our direction that we're going to take has changed a little bit. But again, we're big enough to hold our own, but we're still small enough to maneuver quickly. So it's it's a problem, but I mean, I could have other problems. This is not 100%. A problem that I'm going to make a problem.
Right. Well, I think that's the number one rule with house flipping that I've discovered, is that the only thing constant is the unexpected.
Yep.
Like, I don't think, we've done 200, maybe 50 flips by now. And I'd say every single one, it's always funny to look at the scope of work initially and the initial budget, and then what we thought we'd do. And then we look at the end, and it's just like every single time it's not the same.
Yeah.
So now we just hold it loosely on the front end, and we're like, I think we're going to do this. As long as the margin's there, then we got lots of buffer to either make more money, or even if we screw this whole thing up and we have a flood, we can still at least, walk away and not be totally dead.
Yeah. And there's actually a book out there, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but I'm pretty sure I bought it on Amazon, but it goes through, as you're flipping a house, some of the costs that go into each facet of it. And then the national average of cost per project. So like if you're going to put in a driveway, it'll give you the national average of what it would take to put in a driveway at a certain size. You can flip through all these different electrical, plumbing, masonry, framing, like anything you'd want. And that helps with estimating. So again, not even like I'm pulling numbers out of thin air. I'm going to this book that has syndicated over the whole nation to get rough numbers. So again, it's not recreating the wheel. Yeah. They've done it before. You just go find the answer.
Right. Exactly. Which is so smart, because I mean, sometimes you just don't know.
Right. And I'm curious with Hawaii, obviously everybody listening to this show is like, okay, he invests in Hawaii. So expensive. How do you do it? When you're in Hawaii, and obviously you go in Seattle and Vegas as well, what's your biggest, is there a big difference from Hawaii to the other areas that you invest in? Or was there a certain reason why you picked Seattle and Vegas, other than you like to travel there, that like made it more, all right, I like those areas, I'm going to invest in them because of this reason? Like what went into your thought process as you're developing your whole business plan and going into those markets?
I love it. Well, I mean, I think there's part intentionality and part like just life happens, and then opportunity opens doors. So we started in Hawaii and we started flipping homes there. Great opportunity, because there's a lot of what we call plantation homes in Hawaii. So they're like one panel. There's no drywall. It's just a single panel type of a construction, and you got louver windows. And so those are just not as popular these days, but man, that was the construction of the day back in like the 70s. And so those are easy to flip, because you come in, put some drywall on, you get some nice new windows, all new kitchens. And so that became our bread and butter. Hawaii is an international market. So we got people coming from all over the world buying. I mean, literally, not just the United States, but all over the world. So it makes it for a real strong economy. And unfortunately, that has pushed the pricing up. So the average or median house price in Hawaii now is over $850,000 for just a small 1,400 square foot starter home.
Dang.
And that's not feasible for most people to live in Hawaii. And then it's for investors, it's kind of risky, because you're trying to buy a tear down piece of crap for $650,000.
Put $100,000.
Yeah, it's a big pill to swallow for a lot of people, especially coming from different parts of the country. And so, I mean, we were buying, old houses that needed full guts, but in good areas for like $1.2 million, in the hopes that we would sell for $2 million after we were done. Fortunately, we had some good experiences. Other times we had horrible experiences. So, it just kind of goes here and there. But as we were taking a look at other parts of the country and investing in different places, I liked Seattle because Seattle has so many corporate offices: Microsoft, Amazon, Costco, REI. I mean, there's so many. So the economy in Seattle is just so strong. And throughout COVID, it was just like there was no hiccup. The market was just soaring.
Yeah.
So from a multifamily perspective, we own quite a few apartments here in the Northwest because the rents are super strong because of the economy being so strong.
Yeah.
So I really like the buy and hold side. Vegas is fun because the entire world goes to Vegas. I mean, Vegas is just, it's a market that when you look at conferences these days, I think the number one place in the country for conferences got to be Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And so for us, that was a great market to invest in. So we thought, let's buy some units here. And so that was great. And then now we just, I'm closing on 41 units in Houston next week. And then
it's another good area.
Yeah, Houston, Dallas is awesome. So we just moved our construction company to be based out of Houston. It was based out of Seattle. So now we've moved the offices down to Houston literally 2 weeks ago. And so that's a market where we could still buy doors, which is like a 2-bedroom unit. So we call it a door. So if there's 8 units, it's 8 doors. So we could still buy like in our 41 unit, we're buying each unit for $73,000, which is really great because rents are like $1,000 a door.
That's awesome.
For Vegas right now, they're more like 125 to 150 a door. And then same with Washington, you're probably about 125-ish a door. So kind of more expensive, but Houston and Dallas, you can still get a great deal per unit with high rents.
Yep.
So that's what's kind of moved us around the country. Michigan, actually, I was trying to buy a fire station in Flint just because.
Yeah. What were you going to do with that? You mentioned that before we started recording. I was going to ask you about that. What was the plan with the fire station?
I'll have to send you some photos. I bought a fire station here in Seattle. The city was selling a fire station that was super cool. And so when opportunities opened the doors, I was like, man, this is just not in my space. I don't know what to do with a fire station, but damn, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
So I picked it up for $730,000 and then sat on it through COVID. So I mean, that talk about a renovation that didn't go as planned. It took me forever to figure it out because it's a commercial building. I wanted to make it residential because the city wouldn't let me. I wanted to do a bar. I was trying to do all kinds of cool things, but the city wouldn't allow it. They said you could make it a residential or you could keep it a fire station. And I'm like, who else is going to want to rent a fire station for a fire station?
Yeah.
So I had to convert it to residential. So we did a massive conversion and we finally sold it for just under 1.8. So we made a really healthy chunk of money on it, but had so much fun. Like, I mean, we did red kitchen cabinets, red interior doors. I mean, just the stuff that nobody else would do in a regular house.
Right.
Yeah.
We did. And it was, I'll send you some photos or
I want to see that.
Look it up online. Cool. Yeah, it was super fun. So after that, I was like, I need to go buy every fire station available in the country. And so one of our team members was looking and they're like, hey, your wife's from Michigan. There's a fire station in Flint. And so I was like, let's put an offer on it. So we got it for $200,000 in Michigan.
That's awesome.
So super fun. And so
and you haven't started that renovation yet? That's 2 weeks.
Well, we were in due diligence for 3 months, and then we were trying to figure out how to renovate it. I really wanted to make a food hall and a special event center.
Yeah.
But in Flint, the economy is so repressed, but construction costs are so high, as you know, right now.
Yeah.
It's going to take $3 million to renovate that fire station.
Dang.
Which would have completely blown the comps. Like there was not a single sane investor in the world who would be like, oh, I'll give you $3 million for that when you're done. Like it wasn't going to be worth that.
Yeah.
So reluctantly, I had to back out of it. And so I'm just going to hang tight and maybe somehow I'm working with the city to see if they'll give us some grants, because that's another thing for investors. If you're looking at unique spaces, sometimes cities will actually give you money because they want that space renovated for a certain purpose.
Yep.
So if our purpose has to do with the community, bringing a gathering place, helping out after school programs, so if we could tie all that in, we were going to be able to get maybe $1 to $2 million.
Yeah.
And suddenly that budget totally changes, So, and it's still sitting for sale because there's nobody else in town that's going, ooh, let me go spend $3 million on a fire station. But
but it changes your numbers completely. There was a couple buildings in Oconomowoc where me and Natasha lived that in our downtown strip area, they'd sold the building. So under new ownership within the sale, they got a grant from the city to do the exterior. So all new windows, all new brick, because they wanted to match the facade of the old historic downtown.
That's
so
awesome.
The city took on the cost of all the exterior and the roof, and all they had to do was renovate the interior, which again, if you're saving the cost of doing all the exterior work, like that changes your budget and what you can do with the building completely.
Yeah. After that, you should have bought up the whole block.
I know. Well, someone did come in and buy the block, and now they're going to
okay.
turn that into condos. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be
So
like, hey,
it's all
the city's
changing.
gonna do half the budget.
And
Go.
it's like a give and take. You're going to find that as you get into it. So they, on the one part that they're going to buy, and it was like a watercraft, like paddle boards and kayaks and knee boards and all that stuff. They had a pet store, they had a bar, because you can't have
They're
you
turning
can't not
those
have a
into
bar
condos
in
now?
Wisconsin. What's that?
They're turning those into condos now too.
Yeah. So what they're
That's
doing,
awesome.
the city is allowing them to turn it into condos, because they obviously, like, we live around lakes and they want lake access for the public. So they're giving them the allowance to convert it into residential, but they're taking the shoreline. So the shoreline is going to be taken into the city so that they can put a walking path and like another shoreline activity area around it. And that's what they've pretty much done with all the new buildings, is they give up some, but then they take the shoreline for public, which
That's
is, I
awesome.
mean, a cool trade-off. All the residents still get their piers and they can house their boats there. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody, except if you've lived there forever and hate change.
Right. But I don't know. That sounds exciting to me. Let me know if there's an extra place I could park a boat. I'll come join you.
Absolutely. There's always boat slips available.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And it'll
Especially
get you to
the weather
Wisconsin.
I know that the only problem is that you only use your boat one day of the year, right? But other than that, it would be
Yeah.
great.
The one day a year, it's good enough to go out there.
Yeah, and the one day is right behind you right now, man. Those skies are amazingly blue.
Oh, it's nice. It's 80 degrees and sunny, so I can't complain, with a nice little breeze off the lake. Can't
yeah,
complain at all. It probably doesn't beat Hawaii because you're getting this every single day.
Right.
yeah.
But-
it's different in Hawaii though. But yeah, totally. But I mean, in Wisconsin, when you can get a sunny day like that and 80 degrees, man, everybody doesn't show up for work. Everybody's on the water.
Everybody's sick for some reason. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
All in one day.
It's a pandemic, man. You have to watch out. But
So-
that's awesome. So you have a construction company that's based in Wisconsin and then serving pretty much what you guys do.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, long distance investing scares me still. So
Yeah.
like, kudos to you for going long distance. That's something that I've not bitten off yet. I'm interested in it. Like, we want to go Southern California, Texas, Florida. Those are like my target areas. But whenever I get to them, it'll be the right time whenever I get there. But
yeah, I would just suggest that if you pick out one of those markets that you really like, and personally, I would pick out the market that you feel like you would enjoy traveling to.
Yeah.
So maybe it's Florida because, it's kind of a fun place outside of Wisconsin in the wintertime.
Yep.
And I would just say, just start networking, wholesalers, meeting people. And then pretty soon somebody's going to send you a deal that you're like, hey, this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
And then once that deal hits your plate, it sounds like we're a lot alike. Like, you'll figure out a way to make the deal work. And then you're going to figure out a way to build the construction team. And then you're going to figure out a way how to, fly down there so you can manage it. And so eventually the plan kind of comes together. And it sounds like you guys, you're very similar to us. We kind of fire and then aim and figure stuff out later. Other people are like, we got to evaluate every market. We got to build teams and we got to interview contractors and property managers. I'm like, man, that'd take forever.
I don't want to make it that confusing. It doesn't have to be that confusing.
Yeah. Well, and then the analysis paralysis comes in. Because then suddenly it's like, you know what? I'm not ready yet because I don't have a good property manager. Hey, if you don't have a good property manager, manage it yourself, right? From a distance.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes
Natasha, I talked to Natasha and she was been a co-host on the show talking to other investors to get into the investing world. And her first investment was out in Portland.
Nice.
And they took a little vacation out there to vet different, I think it was 3 property managers, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, and you already bought the property, right?
Right. And so next year, I think we're going to purchase our second house out in Oregon. It'll be on the coast. On the coast, though. I need my house. This is Jason's house. My house is going to be on the coast.
But yeah, so a non-investor going in buying a house, we're going to figure out the property management stuff. It's there. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Natasha, let us know if you need help. Our team is licensed in Oregon.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I would love it. We haven't decided where on the coast yet. We've gone out the seaside once. We're going out to Oh no, we went to Florence and now we're going to Seaside this year. So we're kind of making our way up and down the coast, finding where we really want to purchase.
Yeah. Seaside's beautiful. Lincoln City's another one to go check out.
That's where my husband really likes. But again, this is going to be my, I'm like, this is where I'm going to die one day. So
if you're going to die anywhere, Oregon coast ain't so bad.
Right? I know. The weather's
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Let us know.
What is next on your venture? Like are you going other areas, or are you trying to maximize the areas you're in now because you have your team set up? Like I'm thinking you just moved to Houston.
Yeah.
Are you now going to flood Houston? Like now you've got all the support made. Are you trying to flood that market, or are you still looking to expand into other areas? Like is the world your oyster and you're like, wherever the deal takes me?
So I'm going to try to beat you to Florida. So we're going to be down.
The race is on.
The race is on, bro. I really want to be in Florida. I love it there. We have some family, and I've got to go down there in a couple of weeks as well. So I'm just kind of looking South Beach area. And then I also like the Gulf side of the state. So checking out that market. So we kind of do, so a little bit like you. So we have a real estate team that's licensed. So we have agents basically in every single one of these states that are part of our team. And then we also have a hard money lending company. So we're able to fund the deals. And then we also, that's based out of Honolulu. Then we have a construction company, and we also have a property management company. So we basically created all these companies to support our addiction of real estate flipping.
Yep.
And
we are similar.
So we're very similar. And so all of our companies supported that. But along the way, like the Natasha's come into your life and they're saying, hey, can you help me? And so we started having our buddies. So now we do a little podcast, a live podcast every Friday. In fact, it's at 1:00 today, where a lot of about 80 investors come together, and it's just a live conversation having coffee. And so a lot of people are just like, hey, help me think through this, or how do I do this? And so when we kind of talk through that, so now a lot of our companies are geared towards helping other people build their portfolios.
That's awesome.
So it's been fun. So what's nice is that now, and you may even think about this, is that because we're always sourcing deals, if it's a really good deal, like just the other day, a gal called and is like, hey, I need to dump my triplex, and it's actually in Washington. And I ran the comps and I knew what I'd be willing to pay. And she gave me a number, which was less than what I wanted to pay. I'm like, wow, this is great. And so she's like, can I go on market? I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to buy it. She's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be great. So what's nice is that if I like it, I can buy it. If I don't like it, then, and it's a decent deal, I can sell it to one of our partners. So we have a lot of investors. We'll be the agent, make the commission on it and help them out. But then our construction team will make money because we're going to help them renovate. Our property management company is going to make money because we'll manage it. And then if they use our lending company, we make money on the lending side. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
So now we've created this really large, almost like a consulting business for new investors. Majority actually, because of word of mouth, are all physicians. So we work with a lot of doctors around the country. Some of them I've never met, but I keep spending their money and keep building their portfolio. In fact, one thing that, have you ever heard of real estate professional status?
No.
Oh, brah, you got to write that down and look it up on Google. It'll change your life. Real estate professional status. So for anybody who's listening or hasn't heard it, it's actually it's not a tax loophole. It's on the front page of your 1040. You should be claiming it, because basically if you do a certain number of hours, about 700 hours a year in real estate, you're able to write off a good portion of your W-2 income. So for doctors, they've got massive W-2 incomes and they're paying massive amounts of taxes. So when we build their portfolio, their passive income allows them to one day retire out of their doctor income. But in the meantime, through depreciation, something called accumulated depreciation, accelerated depreciation, all of that put together, we're able to help them in some cases pay zero W-2 taxes. So all the money they would have given the government, they're actually buying more assets. So
that's awesome.
It's phenomenal. But it also works for people like you and me, who you just pay yourself a W-2 through one of your LLCs, and then now your income can be washed through that. So that's kind of become our new passion, is to help, just normal people like us who are just trying to get started, save some money, raise a family, have money for our kids, because by the time our kids go to college, it'll be like $1 million a year. So we're trying to just, grow together type of thing. So
and there's a lot of the people that make that money that, I mean, they're consumed with their job. A doctor, now they could, but more often than not, a doctor is not going to sit down and analyze deals when they get done with work. Like they want a resource like that can help them place the money. They don't want to do the legwork to it.
That's
And
right.
if you can place their money and then manage their money or their property, like they're more than likely going to be in with all the tax savings and extra money they can have in savings. So
100%.
that's a really cool niche little like market. In the healthcare, one of the things that I've been looking at is Airbnbs, because those are always interesting. And if you do go long distance, you can Airbnb. So I picked up a property in Florida, you Airbnb that out. And there was one thing I was looking at, and there's a website and I can't recall it, but it's for traveling nurses.
Yep.
So you don't actually sign a contract with the actual individual, you'd sign it with the company that places the nurses or doctors that travel. And they would always constantly run it or completely fill your rooms.
Yep.
And I was like, that's a super, like, I never even thought of that as an option.
Yeah.
But
it's huge.
I mean, there's always answers to problems of what you want to get into. And it doesn't sound like your Airbnb yet. A lot of yours is still long-term rentals for the buy and holds.
No, we do Airbnb as well, because that real estate professional status is even better with Airbnb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get a much bigger chunk of tax write-offs in the year of the acquisition of the Airbnb. So long
is
as
that just because there's more hours to it, like more management hours?
You just have to be hands-on for, I think it's 100 hours, in that tax year.
Okay.
So yeah, it just.
Are your Airbnbs as much of a headache as the Airbnbs I manage?
So the Airbnb, that's a whole topic by itself. The Airbnb industry is changing drastically. I think it soared because of COVID. So then everybody started buying them. Yeah, it's kind of like gas prices are going up. Everybody's buying a Tesla right now. And so it's just this little weird kind of a fad, I think, in some ways. It is a good investment. The hard part about Airbnb is exactly, Natasha, what you said, is the turnover. I mean, you're a hotel. And
exactly. It's the hospitality that we were kind of talking about this in a previous podcast that we were on, because the Airbnb side, that's my W-2 job. And it's a big headache. Just
huge.
Because it is hospitality versus renting out a long-term rental.
Yeah. So exactly that. And then the wear and tear, you're going to get a partying tenant. You're going to have neighbors that'll complain. And then what's tough is that a lot of people love to go into those areas to buy an Airbnb that does not have a lot of regulations yet, which is good. But as so long as those neighbors continue to complain, regulations are around the corner.
Yep.
And what's going to happen is this Airbnb that was doing so well now becomes this non-business, and then you're sitting on this asset. So I'm not anti-Airbnb. What I've tried to do is buy Airbnb in such a way that it could be just like you were saying, Marcus, a midterm rental or a long-term rental. So if you're able to get multiple exit strategies, so what we've been looking at is old motels that got shut down during COVID in really good locations. Traveling nurses love being near big hospitals.
Yep.
And if you drive around big cities, you're going to notice a bunch of those little, like Motel 60 kind of a thing, where it's near town, not the best part of town. Some of them were in pretty good parts of town, never got torn down, and they shut down. And so we looked at one in Oklahoma City that was in a good part of town. But what's nice about that is you've got, like, say, 80 doors or 80 units. If you can put kitchenettes in there, or tear down a wall and make them 1-bedroom suites out of 2 rooms, then you can sign a deal with traveling nurses. There's also, we talked about NFL. NFL sometimes does long-term temporary housing for trainers, coaches, some players that are out. So lots of cool midterm. And what's nice about midterm is it's not like every other day, right, Natasha, where you're like, where's the toilet paper? And who freaking stole the iron? And oh, how come there's a stain on the bed? And you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not freaking your mom. I'm not going to come over and do your laundry, And so, but midterm rentals gives you a little bit less turnover and more control, because you're able to control the contract with traveling nurses or NFL, Microsoft, those big companies nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And no one talks about those midterms. Like that's kind of a smaller fraction of a market, because I would assume that there's harder scheduling for the next tenant to come in, because obviously with long term you try not to get them to move out in the Midwest in the winter, because no one likes to move in the winter.
Right.
Like, do you have those nuances with those middle range rentals, or are those still constantly flowing like Airbnbs are?
Yeah, you're spot on. Location, proximity, and the demand is huge. So, like even in Vegas where it's very hot, the dynamic there is you're competing against hotels with full service. So if you're Airbnb, you got to offer something that's pretty special. And there's a lot of big resorts that'll do nurses for fairly cheap. But the difference is nurses don't want to park in the parking garage and take 20 minutes to go from the parking garage to their room, no matter how cheap it is. But those casinos are like 2 zip codes, And so traveling nurses at the end of their day, they're just like, hey, I need a quiet place, a fun place. One of the models that we're thinking of doing is we're buying a complex of like tiny homes, almost like tiny units.
That's
and then
cool.
turning that, they're right now existing, they're kind of like a traveling motel type of a thing. So we're going to gut the whole thing and just make it a traveling nurse complex because it's walking distance to the hospital. Oh, nice. So the whole thing will be gated. The whole thing will have, fun colors. It's going to have a cool central vibe area because a lot of these traveling nurses are coming from all over the country. They got no friends. They show up in Houston and they're just like, I'm scared, but I don't want to spend a ton of money on rent because I'm trying to save money. So imagine if you could go to a place where you're meeting other traveling nurses. So like-minded, like-hearted, it's secure. You got a place to meet some folks. And then it's like, hey, I got a couple of friends that I could go out to the bar with. And so we're trying to really niche down into really like traveling nurses or here in Seattle, there's the Seahawks practice in a certain part of Renton. And there's a lot of multifamily buildings. So I was actually trying to buy one of them that had 15 units and turn it into a Seahawks campus. So all of the bench warmers that don't get paid a ton of money, they get like 30 to 40 grand a year just to be part of the practice team. Yeah. Like they're needing to rent. So instead of renting anywhere else, we give them a really cool deal and they've got it's going to feel like a big frat, but you got your own little apartment. So to me, that's a great way to do like short-term rentals, but with a little bit more midterm feel.
Yeah. And then you make the connections with your favorite team. And you get
100%, get some free seats, maybe get some autographs, but of course they're bench warmers. So it's kind of like autographs for who,
I mean, they know the other people. They'll help you out, hopefully.
Yeah. It could work out. It could work out.
That's a super cool, like that's the first person that I've heard actually going after like a professional league and all of those people. Cause like you think about in baseball, they've got, AAA down to rookie ball. You've got bullpen catchers that can't live like starters or all stars. Right. So there's always that it's such a big disparity in hierarchy and pay.
Yeah. So you can do that with the Packers. Just go up go figure out what the Packers needs in terms of housing and
they go up to St. Norbert's College, which is in like central Wisconsin, and they practice up there for spring training. So I think they take over the dorms. Nice. If I'm not mistaken. I think they take over the college dorm while the college kids are out.
Which that makes sense.
Do professional athletes want to live in a dorm? Probably not.
No, not at all.
We have to figure out like if they can live off site. I don't know how they all work it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Packers are really weird and they're very close knit. They want everybody to live in the same area, at least in spring, like what do they call that? Offense?
Yeah. Kind of like spring training.
I call it spring training because I'm baseball. I don't know if football calls it spring training. I have no idea.
I still call it that. Seahawks just started here this week, actually.
Wasn't there a game last night?
Was there a game last night preseason? There might be. I just came into town, so
I thought the Raiders played.
Oh,
Raiders, somebody. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I just heard football's back.
Yeah. So that's the other place I buy properties is places where I like the football team. So Vegas has got a really cool stadium. And then Dallas, I'm not a big Cowboys fan, but still it's kind of fun to watch.
I'd like to see that area, what Jerry Jones did to that area, because that looks super cool. You saw the highlights. Didn't they have the Super Bowl the year after it was done? Yeah. So you got some shots from the TV, at least from what the area looked like. It looked awesome.
It looks amazing. Yeah.
Man, the most expensive ticket prices from what I hear are in Dallas.
But you're basically going into this luxurious 7-star resort when you go to a football game.
Yeah. I want to know what a burger costs down there.
Well, I don't think you could order burgers to your chair, to your seat. And I think in that stadium, you might be able to even order like pedicures and manicures and foot massages and
like mid-game, like mid-second quarter.
It's so bougie,
That's awesome. Doesn't surprise me for what he built over there, though.
Yeah.
To offer those kind of services.
I'm totally kidding, but that's just kind of the sense I get with the ticket prices they offer. It's like, man, what does this thing come with?
I know. What's next down there for him?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Well, we definitely need to stay in touch because it sounds like we do a lot together, and that'd be kind of cool to see if we could link in somewhere there. The Midwest is gorgeous. And in fact, just yesterday, I'm evaluating 2 single family homes right in Michigan. And every time I look up in that area, I'm just like, man, the prices up here are amazing.
Yeah. I know. We are talking about buying for a teardown. We bought one a few blocks from where I'm at right now. And that one was about $350.
Nice.
And that's going to be a complete teardown. In that one, I was like, oh my God, we have to drop $350 just to tear it down to rebuild. But I mean, with the comp and what we're going to do with it, it's worth it. But that was a tough one to swallow. So for you hearing 800 for a teardown, I'm like, that's what I want to be all in cost.
Yeah.
Like,
no, 100%.
It's just the disparity of area. But obviously with Hawaii being more of a international market, you have a lot more buyers, a lot more competition. Like it's going to happen like that. You see that in all the vacation spots. I mean, that's what's taken us so long to get to Florida and Southern California.
Yeah.
Because buying houses down there are just insane price, but
100%. Well, I think with the recession, potentially being here and, the market changing a little bit, I think there's going to be more opportunities to buy.
Yep.
And I think
that's where I just want to unload so I can be ready.
Yes.
And then I'm going to call you up and say, hey, meet me in Florida. We're going to drive around and see who finds the first one.
Let's do it. Yeah, and then maybe we'll go down to Dallas on the way back and go check out a game.
I would go back to Texas anytime. That's where our spring training was every year. So
what was it?
When we were in college, we'd go down to San Antonio every year and play teams from across the country. And man, I heavily contemplated not coming back after my senior year and just staying down in Texas.
It's a fun place, and the market is so inexpensive. The only part is the humidity there is a little nuts.
Yeah, but I heard that they don't have like zoning. So you can have a shopping center next to a single family home, next to a doctor's office. Like you build whatever you want, wherever you want. Just make sure it's in your lot.
Yeah, it's the Texas Lone Star motto of "We are our own country" kind of a thing, and Lone Rangers. Yeah, they do some pretty crazy stuff over there.
Yeah, and I want to be involved. It would be fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And it also makes you pull your hair out some days. But
true.
At the same time, you're just like, hey, that's just how it goes. But the neat thing about being in different markets is that you really get to diversify the understanding of real estate because everybody does it different, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, we're definitely gonna have you back on. I feel like we just got to know like who you are and what you do. I want to dive into like, how did you build this stuff and what were the pain points and what flowed and what was good and bad? And we couldn't even get into those kind of questions with what we got going on. So we'll definitely have to have you back. Hopefully, I don't know where we're at with scheduling wise, but we're going to officially start the competition to get to Florida first.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So as we get onto the next show, we'll see who has come closer or if someone's successful.
Let's do it. No, I wish you well. I think that'd be great. Or the other thing is you find a deal that we could do together. Let me know.
Oh, I'm on to that one too. Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah. We're looking at, you're flexible down there too. Multifamilies. We're looking at those motel concepts.
Yeah.
So RV parks, really interested in RV parks too. So if you see anything or hear of anything,
they're so hard.
They're hard.
They're so hard to get into. I would love to own one, but I can't find one that someone's selling.
Right.
And two, that isn't can be converted already. Because I don't know how it is in Hawaii, but here I believe you can't build anymore. So the existing ones are the existing ones, and that's it.
Yeah. So, well, there's none in Hawaii actually, but
they don't allow them, or just no one's built them.
They're kind of just not really allowed. I mean, they're kind of allowed on small parts on like your own plot, but to build a mobile home in there, but there's not like a mobile home park.
Yeah.
You would think that there would be, but if you think about it, you'd have to ship those from the mainland to there. So it's pretty cost prohibitive. So you might as well build the house there,
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. But definitely. It's been a pleasure. And I can't believe we had an hour and we've only got started, but definitely let's stay in touch for sure. And Natasha's got all my details and love to hear more about what you guys are doing as well.
Yeah. And if we'll put in the show notes, what is the best way for people that are listening that are either in those markets or want to learn from you? What would be the best way for them to reach out to you? And then also a segue into your podcast. What is the podcast? Because I'm going to start listening.
Gotcha. So teamkekoa.com is our website. So teamkekoa.com is our website.
Okay.
And you just got to get a sense of all the things that we do. And the podcast is not so much a podcast, it is a coffee talk. It's just a coffee session that we just kind of come on and ask questions. So we could post the link to that too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We're available to anybody who just wants to brainstorm, and it's always fun to meet people. I love this, like having a nice conversation and meeting a new friend and then hopefully do some business together.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get something going for sure.
100%, especially if it allows us to buy a house like what you got behind you. Let's do it right there on the lake.
I know. We're getting there. The next one, that tear down that was 350, the final sale price on that is going to be 1.5.
Nice.
So it'll be something like this once we're all done with it.
That's awesome. It's beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of work with this one, but we're ready for the next one.
Right on. Yeah, keep going. If we could be of any resource, let us know.
Absolutely. I'll reach out soon. We'll get you back for sure, but we'll be talking again.
Right on. Well, thanks, Marcus. Thanks, Natasha. You guys have a great one.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay, take
Talk
care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.